Alright, so let's just say for the sake of this video, you're already dead set on getting a new iPhone 13 this year. You've already decided that, but what you aren't quite sure of is which one you want to get. Well, hopefully this video will help you out, as I'm going to go over some of the biggest differences between the iPhone 13 and the 13 Pro models. But before we get started, if you decide you like this content and you want to see more from us in the future, consider subscribing to the channel, and of course hit that like button if you ended up liking this video and it helped you out, as it greatly helps us out. So obviously there are a few things that make this decision easier, and those are the size of the device and the battery life. If you want a smaller or larger size, then you either go to the extremes with the Mini or the Pro Max. The Mini offers the shortest battery life of the bunch, but it's also the more pocketable form factor, which is appealing to some people. The Max is clearly going to have the larger battery and of course the biggest display and size. These are easy to distinguish, and you already probably made up your mind if you decided that you like smaller phones or bigger phones. But what about the iPhone 13 and 13 Pro? Both have the same size display and same form factor, but it is important to note here that while both phones are the same size, the 13 Pro does offer up to 22 hours of battery life for video playback compared to the standard 13's 19 hours. Now, the biggest difference comes with the display and its new ProMotion technology on the iPhone 13 Pro. If you've ever used one of the 2018 and beyond iPad Pros, then you might be a bit familiar with ProMotion, or essentially a 120 Hz refresh rate on a display. This allows for a buttery smooth scrolling and navigation effect, and it just makes your device appear as if it's faster or snappier. This could have huge improvements for specific games and creative applications. If you're concerned about the battery taking a hit with this feature, Apple has optimized the feature to minimize that, adjusting the frame rate on the fly depending on battery life, application, etc. And it can range anywhere from 10 Hz all the way up to 120 Hz, depending on what's on your display. We've actually seen quite a few Android devices over the last few years implement this idea already, and I do really enjoy using it on those phones, and so I'm excited to see how this plays out on the upcoming iPhone 13 Pro. Now, the iPhone 13 also only has 800 nits of brightness for the display, where the Pro models do feature a 1000 nit display. Now, both phones do peak at 1200 nits for HDR content. The next biggest difference between each device is, of course, the camera systems. There's an additional telephoto lens on the Pro models, making it 3 cameras compared to 2, alongside a slightly more improved wide and ultra wide compared to the iPhone 13. But the two things that really stand out here compared to the standard iPhone 13 is the inclusion of a macro photography mode and ProRes video. Apple redesigned the ultra-wide lens for the Pro models and included an autofocus system that can focus on any object at just 2 centimeters away. The test photos that were shown at the event look pretty impressive, and of course, we actually need to test that out for ourselves to see if it really holds up. But we've used other devices, specifically an Android device in the past earlier this year, with these capabilities, and whether you want to call it gimmicky or not, it was actually a lot of fun to play around with, and I'm excited to try this again on the iPhone 13 Pro. Now, something that wasn't really talked about with this new macro mode is that you can actually take macro shots for video too, which could lead to some pretty cool slow motion close-ups. Also, a quick note, since the lenses on the Pro models have larger apertures, they are able to let in more light compared to the iPhone 13, which in theory should make night mode shots a bit better on the Pro models too. So just something to keep in mind if you're somebody who takes a lot of shots outside in the night. iPhone 13 Pro also has ProRes video capabilities, which offers high color fidelity at a lower compression rate, giving you some really high quality video content, but with that comes some massive file sizes. So something to keep in mind with this feature is it also won't be available at launch, as Apple has listed on its website that it's coming soon, and you'll have to have a model with at least 256 gigabytes of storage to take advantage of it, because again, your phone's going to fill up pretty quickly with those massive file sizes. It's also worth noting that Apple spent a lot of time talking about its new cinematic mode for video, where users can adjust and rack focus between the background subject and foreground subject to give your videos a more cinematic look. Now, this feature is available across all iPhone 13 models, so it does not matter which one you get. I just wanted to make sure that was pretty clear. And then we get down to a few other minor changes depending on how you value them. But one of the more obvious cosmetic differences is the frosted matte glass on the back of the Pro models compared to just your standard glass, the shiny fingerprint magnet glass that we have on a lot of other phones, and specifically on the standard iPhone 13 and 13 mini. Now, I do prefer the matte finish as it's more resistant to smudges and fingerprints, but you do get some better color options for those non-Pro phones. Those colors include Product Red, Starlight, Midnight, Blue, and Pink. The Pro models will come in standard graphite, gold, silver, and a new Sierra blue color. The Pro models also feature stainless steel compared to the aluminum housing that's found on the iPhone 13, which is much more durable, but also, again, the iPhone 12 Pro models had a lot of fingerprint issues with those stainless steel, so it'll be interesting to see if Apple did anything with that on the 13. Lastly, we have some storage options and pricing configurations. The iPhone 13 starts at $799 for 128 gigs of storage, which is honestly a great starting storage size and price, while the iPhone 13 Pro will start at $999 for the same 128 gigs of storage. The Pro models do, however, go all the way up to 1 terabyte options, so if you are going to take advantage of that ProRes video and just store a lot of stuff on your phone, then it's worth maybe checking that out. And that's really it. There are a few differences that, depending on who you are, you might find it worth upgrading to those specific Pro models, but again, it will come at a minimum of at least $200 more than the standard iPhone 13. Now, for me personally, I'm going to try the 13 Pro out because mostly it's my job and because I've always navigated towards those Pro models, and I want to try out 120 Hertz Pro Motion, but for the average consumer, for anyone watching this video and you just want to know whether or not it's worth to spend that extra $200, I would say more so like last year, probably not. But of course, I'd love to know your thoughts in the comments down below. This has been Dan with Mac Rumors. Thanks so much for watching, and I hope to see you around in the next video.